Hello and welcome. It is 2 o'clock on May 8th, and we are having a wonderful conversation today around remote learning. This is part of a three-part series that our ESUs across the state are collaborating on to bring you help. We're real educators, real Nebraska educators supporting real Nebraska educators. Today is a Friday webinar. Today and then next week, we will have our last one will be next week. The structure of our webinar is we'll start off with a quick, this is what we're talking about, remote learning. What do we mean by that? And then we'll have a wonderful interview with a Spanish teacher at Freeman Public Schools. Very excited for that. She'll share her remote learning plan and talk us through what she was thinking about and how she planned that experience for her kids. Then in the second half, we'll have some breakout conversations around what did we learn, as well as, you know, it's the end of the year. We all do fun stuff at the end of the year, but this is not a normal year. So what does the fun end of the year thing look like in remote learning? So that'll be part of our conversation in the second half. This is a Friday webinar. In May, this is May, on the 27th and 28th, so 28th for this group, we'll have a half-day workshop that will walk you through creating your own remote learning plan. That'll be awesome. And Andrew's got some big news at the end of the day that relates to this. Finally, in June 15th and 16th, there is the Future Ready Conference, and we would love to invite you to join us there. So with that, my little introduction is done. My name is Nick Ziegler, and I am at ESU 5, and we are joined by a great crew of ESU support across our state here. I can't go through all of them. I see Craig Hicks at ESU 13 on here, but also, of course, by my co-hosts, Eileen Barks at ESU 2 and Andrew Easton at the ESU Coordinating Council. So I'll turn it over to Eileen.
Hello, I'm so happy that you are here. I'm actually going to share my screen with you. And my goal here is to go over just a few of the things on the website. This could be your third webinar, and so we're not going to go as in depth. We want to get to our interview and make sure that we have plenty of time for our interview and our breakouts. But if somebody could put the access to this in the chat, that would be fabulous. When you go to the website, you will see Andrew giving a nice elevator speech of what we're here for you, what we're here to support you with. And we're going to say, you're going to hear us say this a few different times, but these Friday webinars, the Friday workshops, and the Future Ready Conference this year is really about Nebraska educators helping Nebraska educators. We have bootstrap mentality in this state, and we help each other. We have come together in a collaborative effort through ESUs across the state. There's no ownership here. It's all together to help each other. This did get born out of a pilot that we did with a Digital Age project. And you have this link right here to access lots of different support. And when you click on that link, you see some narrative around education opportunities and enrichment opportunities. You also see some recordings from some previous webinars. So educational opportunities, I'm going to skip this and come to the end on this one. I'm going to go right to enrichment right now because our interview will speak highly to the educational opportunities. So I'm going to go all the way to the bottom here first and talk a little bit about this part, enrichment opportunities to support what you've already taught. We know it's May 8th. We know it's the end of the year. You're probably introducing very little new content, but you want some opportunities to give some enrichment. So here are some things for you as far as a choice board for enrichment opportunities. There's a video there you can look at to see what those would look like. And then, of course, this slide here does give you some background knowledge for that. Now, as I go up to the top, I'm kind of doing this in reverse order. There are some elementary weekly plans that you can make your own copies of. If you want to start working on next year, because I don't think anyone's doing a unit plan right now. And if you are, you better come see me because I'm going to give you something for that. Anyway, if you're working on unit plans and for next year, here's a tool for you to use. Just lesson plan after lesson plan after lesson plan hooked together for one cohesive unit. This right here is the remote learning plan one-pager auto-generated DAP project. That was a lot of words, wasn't it? But when you have your idea, you come to this part of the this part of the page, put in your name, your email, your content area, and what your students are going to learn, what are the things that we need to do to pre-assess, what's the instruction, the process, the practice, and the product. Those are the 4 things that you really, well, 5 things that you really want to make sure. The learning objective, tied to a state standard, hopefully, the instruction, the process, the practice, and the product. That's what you need to have for the excellent remote learning plan. If you want to get some ideas, here's some for you. You can look at your grade range. If I am 6 through 9, there are 27 plans here that you can look at. Here's elements of a story. All you have to do is click on this. Here's the direct link. It will take me right to a copy. This happens to be Melissa Omar's English copy. I can make my copy of this because I have view-only rights. You can mix this up. If you want to start from here, start from here. You don't always have to start from scratch. And that brings me back up to the top of those 5 things that you really want to make sure you have on there. The learning goal, the instruction, how my kid's going to process and interact with that learning goal, what's the practice, and what's the product. I'm going to stop sharing at this point, and I'm going to turn it over to Andrew to take us off.
Andrew?
Yeah. Or I thought it might have been Nicholas at this point.
Oh, it's Nick. Sorry. My fault. It's
That's
Nick.
Okay. All right. So thank you. That's a great introduction. We talked about the distinction between those enrichment opportunities, kind of that practice of what's already happened, maybe a deepening of our understanding around those ideas, and those educational opportunities, where here we truly are talking about the continuation of learning. And we know we are all good educators. We know that we need some instruction. We need to know what we're learning, that instruction, that process, practice, and product. I would love to illustrate this by inviting Danielle Fulcher. Please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself there. Go ahead.
Nick, before you start with Danielle, will you please give me hosting rights and see if this is going to work?
Yes, I will do that. So I'll click right.
What you doing now? Danielle, I love your house. That is just a beautiful, I'm really impressed with your courtyard.
That's right. Where are you, Danielle?
In real life or in the picture?
Yes.
In real life, I'm sitting on the floor of my bedroom. The picture, this is the garden of the Generalife in the Alhambra Palace in Granada, Spain. I was there several years ago, and this is actually one of the pictures. Since I've discovered the green screen feature on Zoom, I have just been actually playing all sorts of games, pretending I'm elsewhere.
That's great. Danielle, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where do you teach?
Well, my name is Danielle Fulcher. I am the Spanish teacher for Freeman Public Schools down in Adams. I am the only Spanish teacher, so I teach all the levels, Spanish 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to be sharing one of the lesson plans that I have used the auto generator for. So
excellent.
What you see in front of you right now, this would be an example of maybe a weekly lesson kind of plan. But I have kept in mind my overall unit plan. So Eileen, I think you've talked about planning units for next year. Yes, I've kind of started that. But what you see at the top, underneath my name and the date, that is an example of my overall unit plan. This would be an example for a Spanish 1, Unit 1 plan. So in this first unit, students are going to be able to introduce themselves, hold short verbal exchanges using polite conversation phrases, and talk about what they are like in personality and appearance. That's the overall unit plan. Now, off to the right, where it has, before you learn self-check, the I can statement, that would be an example of the weekly goal for my students. So for this first week, students will be able to greet another person at various times of the day, morning, afternoon, evening, and be able to introduce themselves by name. So those are kind of the two goals or units for this particular weekly unit.
Excellent, Danielle. And so what I hear you say is that this isn't just a one-pager for this 1 week, but that you're going to build them week by week and have a unit of instruction, right? So we
Correct.
can do that.
So what you see here, this would be week 1 of a 5-week unit.
Mm-hmm.
So these would be all the things we do.
So begin your journey.
Off on the left-hand side, actually, before I get into this, I'm going to shamelessly promote this weekly generator because I find it really, really awesome to use. It really makes the process of planning your week really easy, and it streamlines it. But if one of you could put up the remote learning plan chart, scroll down a little bit. That's it. Oh, go back up.
Yes, good. Okay.
This is actually where I started, because going with the weekly generator, it was a little bit difficult to kind of get all my ducks in a row. But looking at this learning planning chart, this really helped me bridge the gap from what I do in my classroom to what I would do online. So this really helped me repackage what I use in a lesson so that it makes it available digitally. So I started with the offline tasks for my instruction process, practice, and product. And then I asked myself, okay, how can I translate that to a computer or to a screen where that my students can access it? That really made it a lot easier for me to do. So then if you can go back to the lesson plan, I'll go through each of the parts on there. The other really great thing about this is once you input all this information into the weekly generator, you will get a document back that you can edit. As I'm sure you're noticing, I'm really incredibly verbose. I continue to talk. I'm the same way in typing. So when I typed all of my information out, it just like crammed it all together. I went back in and I reformatted it so it looked nice and neat. The other thing is once you get that document back, you can add links to information for your students to access if you wish. For instance, I edited this not 30 minutes ago and put in an introduction video of myself explaining all of this information for my students to access. So that is a really great way to edit it. So if you don't get it right on the first try, you can go back and redo things. But to begin the journey, most likely the students are going to start off with an introduction video by me and something kind of fun to get them going. So with this, I started off with a YouTube video, Basho's Hola Amigo. So it's just a cute introduction, fun song that the students can sing along to and kind of get introduced to a few basic phrases. And as you notice, I've put in online and offline things that they can do, because I know not all of our students are going to have an equal access to technology and the internet. So if your students have the ability to pick up packets from your school, you can prepare this information ahead of time and send it off. So they still have access both online and offline. So for online,
that is such a great point to make, is that online and that offline access and that equity piece. So thank you so much for bringing that up.
Definitely, definitely. So if they don't have access online, I would send them home with a vocabulary list that they can practice and maybe a couple of worksheet practices, something that would be useful for it. Going down into climbing higher, this is after the introduction of the new material. This one would be different practices they can do. There's a lot of great apps out there, Quizlet, Kahoot, Gimkit. You can also do a bunch of different Zoom meetings and different activities with that. So again, I've done both online and offline practices for those. Students can create graphic organizers for their information, separating out like, hello phrases versus goodbye phrases, or, questions and answers, those kinds of things. Same thing with the practices. For online, they can do Duolingo, they can do Quizlet. For offline, they can do some activities from a vocabulary choice board, which again, you can give a paper copy and send that home with them if you need to. And then the last part of it, the share your experience, that's the one where what I'm assessing with them, it can be done either in person or online. So the idea is going to be the same, where the student and I are going to have a one-to-one exchange using those basic greeting phrases, introducing themselves, and just holding a short conversation. And this can be done, this is a really great way, in the classroom. So provided that school closures would end on time at the beginning of the year, we would be in the classroom and they would be able to have a face-to-face conversation with me. But in lieu of not being able to be at the school at the time, we could have a short one-to-one Zoom meeting or video chat that way. So both the online and the offline practices or product, they're still going to meet the same goal with it.
Yeah, I didn't even have to ask you a single question. You just went right through that. I wrote down on my sheet of paper, amazing. So help me out. So you thought through the online and the offline. Why?
Well, I will be honest, when, if you talked to me a couple of years ago, I would be the least technologically advanced person whatsoever. The classroom is my comfort zone. I love being in front of the students and, working with their energies. And, that's what I know. And I always tell my students whenever they're learning something new, start with what you know. It will make you comfortable and it will make it very easy for you to learn new things. So that's
excellent.
where I started with my classroom stuff.
So start with what you know, right?
Exactly.
And so we all know good instruction. We all know good instruction. And I love, thank you, Danielle, for bringing up that planning chart. Please know when you click here, it takes you to the planning chart. You can file and then make your own copy of that planning chart, and then you can think through. You don't necessarily have to do online and offline, maybe, or maybe if you're in a situation like Danielle, maybe you do. So excellent. What else, Danielle, would you like to share about your remote learning plan?
Let's see. Well, like I said, once you do the weekly generator and the auto generator, that's not like 100% concrete set in stone. You can go back and edit it as you need to. And like I said, I just uploaded another link, like the unit introduction video, not half an hour ago. Since I've discovered green screen, I filmed myself in front of, giving a short introduction to this weekly unit.
Mm-hmm. So excellent. I also heard you say, so we're planning for next year, right? This says August 15th on there. And so should we be in class, could you still use this document?
Yes, you can. That's another good thing about, thinking about those offline opportunities. You're still doing what you normally do in a classroom, but you have that all planned out. So then if this all works out and we're back in school by August, you have everything ready to go based on, the concepts that you want to teach. The concepts are not going to change. It's all about packaging. That was something that my cooperating teacher told me about, delivering your lessons. It's all about packaging. Most of us package our lessons in classroom and deliver to the students. Now we just have to package it digitally and deliver it to the students, but the concepts don't change.
Awesome point. Andrew, what would you add? Eileen, what would you add?
I truly would not add anything to it because you can just tell it's authentic. And that's I think the vision that we collectively have as a team here is that we know this is something that's helpful. We want to invite in teachers to share with other teachers. And I'm just grateful that everyone in here they're asking questions in the chat about how we're distributing this. And so Danielle, maybe that would be the one thing from the room. How do you get this to your students?
Well, I can do both online and offline. If I need to, I can make this a paper copy and put it in their weekly packets or monthly packets, however we decide to do that as a school. Or I can put this up onto our learning management system. At Freeman, we use Canvas, and we've tried to streamline everything through Canvas so that it makes it easier for our students. So this I would probably put up as like the first page in one of my Canvas modules.
I think Danielle just said some golden words there. She said, we use Canvas, so it makes it easier for the students. And I would add, it makes it easier for the parents as well. And I know that I might be really familiar with Google Classroom, but if I use Google Classroom and my neighbor down the hall uses Canvas and somebody else uses a Moodle, trying to organize all of those for parents is hard. And so during this time, one learning management system or one way of communicating to parents, if we've learned anything else, we have got to get to that. I think those are words of gold right there, Danielle.
Yeah, we kind of stumbled at the beginning of the whole closure where some of our teachers were using Google Classroom, some were using Canvas. So we had several meetings and we decided, okay, just try to go with Canvas. Just stick with one learning management system all in one spot.
Consistency is key. Danielle, that was amazing. You did amazing. So thank you very much. Did you know, everybody, you can click on the little reaction thing inside of Zoom, and then you can give a virtual applause or a thumbs up. And so seriously, thank you very much. Our next segment is to get into some smaller group conversations. And we'd like you to share what's one thing, or maybe more than one thing, that you took away from our interview or from Eileen's overview ahead of moving into our breakout room. Also, as we previewed, it's almost the end of the year. We all love to do fun things at the end of the year. What does that look like in remote learning? What are you thinking about doing in your classroom to wrap it up? And finally, this is an important question too. Is there something you would like to know more about? We see that there's a couple of folks that wanted to play with choice boards a little bit in the elementary group. I'm putting right now the link to the remote learning Padlet wall. So if you would, please open that up. We don't necessarily need an answer for every one of those things from everyone. If you want to get an idea, but we do ask that you get at least one idea up there from your group once we get into the breakouts. Eileen?
All right, I am ready. I'm ready for breakouts. I'm going to go ahead and open them. All you need to do is say, take me to the breakout. We will bring you back in about 20 minutes. Go.